So now I'm actually going to go. Hi, my name's Keenan Pulizzi, and today I'll be presenting my thesis, From Hell to Hope. Picture this. You're standing in front of the height of the Roman Empire. It's 10 million slaves. Now triple that, 30 million. That's not history, that's happening right now, today. An estimated 30 million people are trapped in human trafficking right now. At the time of doing this, starting my research for this project, there was only about 30 million that we were aware of. That's increased by 7 million people. That time span has been anywhere between a year to 6 months. There are now 37 million people stuck in human trafficking that we are aware of. That's the population of entire states such as Texas and entire countries. And it's happening right now in our modern world. While we scroll online, while we sleep, while we eat, while we live our lives, slavery never truly ended. It just went underground. It's hidden in online platforms, fake relationships, forced labor, and sexual exploitation. This industry generates hundreds of billions of dollars every year. That means there are powerful people protecting it, expanding it, profiting off of human suffering. This isn't random. This is organized evil, and it's truly horrendous. A 13-year-old girl logs onto the internet. She meets someone online, a new friend. He tells her, "You're beautiful, you're perfect, you're gorgeous." He builds her trust. Then he manipulates that trust. He threatens her, then he traps her. Her name was Amanda Todd. She shared her story using flashcards because she was too afraid to speak about her experience. Not long after her sharing her story, she took her own life. This problem thrives off of silence and discomfort. Let's be honest. We avoid this topic because it's disturbing. We assume this won't happen to us. It couldn't. We trust the system to handle this problem. But here's the truth. Avoidance fuels evil. Parents used to say, "Don't talk to strangers," or "Don't get into a stranger's car." That's not enough anymore. Today, danger looks like gaming chats, social media DMs, and friends behind screens. The facts are, most kids are online for hours at a time, daily, talking to strangers that they have never met. Many parents don't fully monitor actively, and predators go where kids feel safe. If children are there, predators are too. A truck driver noticed something off one day. Blacked out windows and a young woman looking terrified. He made a call. That call saved her life. One moment of awareness, one decision changed everything. We have to be aware. We have to know these signs. These signs can look anything but like fear, such as fearful behavior, control, being controlled by another person, isolation. We must pay attention in our public spaces, in our online spaces. We need to be present with those around us. We need to be aware of what's happening around us. We need to protect our inner circles, be present in our families' lives. We need to protect our children, ourselves, those we care about and hold dear to our hearts. Talk openly about these online dangers and even in-person dangers. Monitor our devices and our children's devices intently. This is not control, this is protection. We must use our voices, speak about it, break the silence, educate others on what's happening on this problem. We need to support the fight, partner with organizations, volunteers. We need to volunteer, donate, and advocate for these people. These groups cannot do it all alone. A few examples of these organizations are the Sentinel Foundation, Awaken, and Send Relief. Sentinel uses technology with the support of the government to track down predators all across the globe. Now, Awaken is a local prevention outreach here in Nevada that stands for Prevention, Restoration, and City Transformation. They focus on providing housing, education, and holistic restoration services. Awaken wants to bring those who have suffered tools to reclaim their lives and to help them create a brighter future for themselves and for others. Send Relief is a gospel-driven nonprofit organization that believes together, with the people's help, we can boldly fight until the world is free from human trafficking, including sex trafficking and child exploitation. We need to engage our leadership. We as America, we're a democracy. We need to talk to our local officials. We need to talk to our schools and churches, educate these children, these families, even these high elected officials. Some of them don't know what's happening. We need to tell them that we are aware and we care about what's happening to these people who can't fight for themselves. We need to push for better protection services, stronger enforcement, more awareness programs. This is not just a physical fight. This is spiritual. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood. Ephesians 6:12. This darkness is trying to destroy innocence, corrupt what is good, break what God has created. Every victim is made in the image of God. That means they are not for sale, ever. We are not called to sit back and let evil prevail. We are called to act. Prayer is power. Truth is a weapon. Faith is strength. Through Christ, all things are possible. If anyone knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is sin. James 4:17. Doing nothing is not neutral. Doing nothing is just as bad as committing the sin yourself. We are warriors for Christ. We need to put on the full armor of God and wield our faith mightily. Through Christ Jesus, the innocent can be protected. The impossible can be done. Though some would like to think the government will protect us, they will handle it. The numbers are so small it's insignificant. 37 million compared to 8 billion, it's nothing. It doesn't affect most people. Surely it won't affect me or my family or the families that I know. That thinking is dangerous because evil grows where people stay passive. The systems put in place to help prevent these issues are very limited. They are good, but limited. Even one life is still priceless. Every one person matters. No one should have to go through this hell. Now we must decide, are we spectators or are we part of the solution? Because right now, people are being bought. Children are being manipulated. Lives are being destroyed. Families being torn apart. We have a choice to be a light to the world or to let our light die out and be neutral. However, there is hope. Slavery has been fought before. Evil has been confronted. Change has happened, and it can and it will happen again. But not through silence. Only through action, through unity, through truth, through Christ. One day, every knee will bow. Every evil will fall. Every tear will be wiped away. That is the hope we have through Christ. But until that day, we need to fight. We need to protect the innocent, speak the truth. We bring light into the darkness. Because Jesus is not just hope. He is victory. Awareness, yes, can bring fear, but do not let fear overwhelm your judgment. 2 Timothy 1:7, for God did not give us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power and love and self-discipline. We need to use our critical thinking and reason to be aware, not fearful. There are other ways to be aware, to be prepared, such as possibly joining a self-defense class or supporting nonprofits by joining their mission and donating, advocating for them in front of our peers. Become more aware, more knowledgeable, more courageous. to put an end to this travesty once and for all. Thank you.
Oh, you don't get to walk away.
No.
Oh, okay.
Keenan, I'll go first. I appreciated in your paper your discussion about online trafficking, because I think that's something that we're not talking about. And I think about like the amount of information and connection that I have in my pocket, and I think it remains to be seen how beneficial that is or not.
Right.
And I know that's not what your thesis is about, but I do think that there is a great evil happening in those, online social environments. So I appreciated you highlighting that. Keenan, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 17.
So I'm going to assume you do not have children.
No.
Okay. The reason I ask is like, how would you, if you say monitor children's devices, can you give like maybe an example or two of like how a parent, like maybe a parent that's listening could say, okay, I've heard that. Now, how do I take that information that Keenan just gave me, and how do I protect my kids at home?
Right. The template that I really found useful was like the example of the Clausens, their family, their dynamic. They don't allow technology, so like your cell phone, you can't just be in your room alone with it. You can't be doing something by yourself in your room. You can't be on it at all hours of the day. You have a certain time limit. And majority of that time when you're on the device, it's most of the time used for like school or you're with other people around you. So there's no opportunity for you to be necessarily manipulated on your own.
Sure.
There's support around you, or you're using it for educational purposes. Not to say, you can't use it for, watching movies or, whatnot, but it's better when there's people with you.
Yep.
That's what I would say.
So in a sentence, what I'm hearing you say is limiting isolation.
Correct.
Okay, cool. And I do want to say too, the other thing I wanted to point out is I felt like your use of stories was just really engaging while you were sharing your thesis. I as anyone does, your mind starts to wander, and then you use the example of Amanda and you use the example of the truck driver, and it just drew me right back in. So I just say kudos to you for that, and that's all I got for you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll go. You're a little hard on a couple things, but I thought you did a really good job. I thought you articulated your subject well. I think your articulation needs just a little more work, because you may pause at the end of sentences, but during your sentences, sometimes they sort of run together a little bit. And so and some words need to be, the voice inflection needs to be a little more driving with some really important words of what you're saying.
Right.
The other thing is, I can't remember the sentence. I started to write it out. It says, doing nothing is as bad as
committing the sin yourself.
Okay. I kind of feel that's a little bit of guilting people, and I think that you were a lot more effective when you did actual call to action, like really positive things that you can do as a person to be engaged with this subject.
Right.
So I thought when you did that, your call to action was way more effective than that. Than that was. And then the other thing is that sometimes you'll say like these people. And I think that you should keep it on a either victim or a synonym that you can use instead of these people, because that's really general. And you want to keep driving it home that these are victims. And so maybe either use victims more often or pick a synonym that might work as well as victims. So I thought you did a great job.
Thank you.
Keenan, what's the name of the organization here in Nevada?
Awaken.
And where are they located?
Actually, downtown Reno. They have a headquarters down there.
And do they do any school outreaches, or
Yes.
how do they teach it? How do they touch base with the community?
So they have, with adults, they have a lot of people who are kind of like a mentor, so they'll follow them through this journey of restoration, and they'll sometimes go to schools and present what's going on, obviously in a PG form, or they will present in front of organizations and discuss for funding, for people if they need help, things like that.
And then how would we know if we saw a trafficking situation? And what should we do?
There are some telltale signs, such as the majority of the time people they seem very fearful. They don't necessarily seem like a person, I guess you could say, like their own person. There's usually somebody around them that they're very, I guess, clingy to, and they seem scared of everybody around them and of what this person is thinking. Like they can't believe this person's side. There are a lot of signs that it's like times it's hard to tell because it is very well hidden, but it's a lot of times it's kind of trusting your gut that something doesn't feel right, so that's what I'd say.
And then what should we do?
I would personally, because you can't just go right in front and confront this person if nothing's happening, but you could warn the authorities or just tell them something doesn't seem right, and if there's a license plate, you give it to them and they'll keep tabs on it, or you could even just try to go and talk to them, right? You don't have to necessarily do anything. Talking is a big sign. You can help disclose what's happening. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think it depends on how the Lord leads you through it. It all depends on what He sees fit, because in those situations it's hard to describe because each situation would be different. Thank you.
And I have a question for you. You mentioned that we have to be more courageous. How would you describe that?
I would describe that as being a part of these organizations, such as Awaken, donating or discussing these problems with our elected officials, because we do have that power. We can talk to our representatives, and if enough gets out, they will turn to this conclusion that this isn't right, we need to do something more. That's what I would say.
So do these organizations that you've mentioned help people give them the tools to talk to the police or to the representatives or whatever?
Yeah, they do. They have Sentinel's very much ingrained into the government. Awakened, I do know that there are police officers within that nonprofit who like to help these people out. So there's connections through that. Center Relief does a lot of, they do get together with local sheriff or offices to try to make a change.
So what would you say is the conclusion today, based on your statistics now of 37 million persons in slavery of some kind?
Right.
What would you say? Where are we?
What's the accurate number now?
Well, that, but also, I'm not expressing myself very well here. So there's 37 million people, and you just say it's a tiny bit out of 8 billion, right?
Correct.
But 37 million is a huge number.
It is.
Okay, so do you think that the U.S., let's just stick here in the U.S., do you think that we are making enough noise and enough propaganda out there so that people understand it?
I do not think we are, because America is actually one of the number one consumers of this issue. We buy into it too much. We generate the most money for these people, because I believe in my paper I said they generate about 293 billion roughly, and a lot of that's from us. So I think as America, we need to be more present about it and outgoing with it, speak out, so the rest of the world would follow. Because America's a beacon. We're a beacon of hope and freedom. So I think if we make a stand on this, others would follow.
I want to add to that also is that maybe being specific about venues that, like the Super Bowl is notorious
Right.
for trafficking, or maybe bring out certain venues where this is just really a much bigger problem too, more specifically.
Yeah, I think discuss kind of, probably like showing this as much of a issue, like making this as big of an issue as it truly is, revealing it, like how we do with like the Super Bowl or, the like baseball, basketball, things like that. Actually make it important, because let's be honest, those things aren't the top priority, and it's just noise. And I think when truth is a double-edged sword. It'll cut right through, and that's why it's important. I think if we really spread it, I hope that answers your question.
And then Shay's the last one. He just didn't get to sit up in the front because he's
Yeah,
on video.
I'm doing double duty. Dude. Sorry. So I thought you did a fantastic job, Keenan. Like I know you speak well in public, so any feedback I give is just for your future in public speaking. You stuck to your notes pretty hard. I think if you had saw what you were going to talk about and then talked to us, I think it would have came through stronger. But there was a disconnect a little bit because you were so in your notes. Just be with us, tell us the problem, and then articulate what we can do to solve the problem.
Right.
So I thought you could use some improvement on that one. If you had a subline to your thesis, what would your subline to your thesis be?
Like,
so here's the bold title, but then what would be the subline?
I think the subline would be, I'm sorry, I'm not really understanding the question.
I wonder if I could help. Could you?
Your bold title is From Hell to Hope.
Correct.
Your subline usually informs us like where you're going to go with that thesis.
So
what would the subline be?
It would be like, honestly, I think it would be awareness, right? That's the purpose of this, because myself, I can't make any changes. I can't do anything right here, but the best thing I can do is talk about it.
Yeah.
So it would just be spreading awareness, because as a unit, that's how things get done, right? We have to be with each other, for each other.
Yes. Then you did an awesome job giving us like definitely information to chew on, to go home and research on. I thought that was fantastic. Come out from your notes is the biggest thing I had. Yeah, great job.
Thank you.